Hi everyone, it's Lynn Dion here from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I thought I'd show you how I made this little winter snow globe. And we're going to be using many products from Lawn Fawn today. So let's go ahead and get started. This is the snow globe I'm going to be using today. And you get this little piece here that is for if you wanted to add liquid to your snow globe, which we're not going to be doing today. So I can set that piece aside. And this is the Art Minds Christmas DIY plastic ornament. And I'll list all that information down at the bottom. So again, that little inner piece can be eliminated unless you're doing something with liquid in it. So this is a 4-inch snow globe. So we're going to be using some circle dies from Lawn Fawn. And the two sets that I have here are the reverse stitch scallop circle windows and the outside in stitch circle stackable dies. So now using the Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, I'm going to go ahead and cut out 2 frames. The first thing I want to do is lay down that scallop circle stackable. That other one is going to cut out the frame here in a minute. So I want to leave enough space there to cut my frame out. So I'm going to go ahead and tape that down with some purple tape. And then I'm running that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. So now we can eliminate that center part. We don't need that for now. And now we want to die cut the frame. So I'm going to take the circle die and lay it on this frame so that I have an equal amount of those scallops all the way around. And then I'm basically just centering it right over that one we already die cut. And then I need a second frame, so I'm going to do that same process on the other side. So again, I'm running that through the die cutting machine, and you can see that cuts that nice little scallop frame with that stitch border. So now again, I can remove that center piece and grab that frame again, that circle die, and go ahead and die cut a second frame. So again, just making sure I have equal amount of scallops all the way around, making sure that it's centered, and then running that through my die cutting machine. And that will give us that second frame. So these two are going to line up perfectly. So now that we have those two cut, we can go ahead and grab some acetate. This is the Cuttlebug Embossables from Cricut. And this is a really thick acetate, but you can use any acetate you have. I just wanted to use something really thick here. And we're going to sandwich that acetate between those two frames that we've cut. So I've gone ahead and cut a piece to size here, and I'm using that circle, the outside in stitched circle stackables die, just like we used before to create the frame, and I'm running that through my Spellbinders Platinum 6 machine. And I'm going to run this through several times, and you'll see that it actually does not cut completely through. What I need to do now, because this acetate is so very thick, I'm just going to follow the lines of this die and cut that circle out. So it cuts very easily because it's really impressed in there, so it doesn't take much to cut that out. So that's going to sit right in between these two frames. Now I'm using my Gina K Connect glue, and I'm going to apply glue all over that frame. And then I'm going to attach the acetate. And just to hold that down for a minute, I'm just taking the plate from my die cutting machine and laying it on there and letting that dry. Then I'm going to apply glue to this second frame, and then on the other side of the acetate, I'm going to line up this frame with the one on the front of the acetate, and I'm going to glue these together. So that acetate is sandwiched in between these two frames. And just take a little time there to line everything up. Now with my Lawn Fawn Pixie Dust cardstock, which is a beautifully glittery cardstock, and my mini snowflake dies from Lawn Fawn, I'm going to go ahead and run these through my Sizzix Sidekick machine, and I'm just going to die cut a whole bunch of these. I don't know how many I'm going to be using yet, so you can see here I die cut a bunch of these and place them in my little collapsible bowl here. And these snowflakes will get glued to the acetate, one on the front and one on the back. So because they're perfectly symmetrical, they're going to line up, one on front and one on back. So we're going to set these aside for now. And let's work on some stamping. We're going to grab the front and back of this bear and the coordinating dies. And this little set is called Beary Happy Holidays, again from Lawn Fawn. So I've grabbed some paper here, and I'm using my Spectrum Noir Ultra Smooth Premium White Cardstock. This is a 100-pound weight because I am going to be coloring these in with some alcohol markers. And I'm also using my We Are Memory Keepers Mini Precision Press to do my stamping. So I've placed some paper in my positioner here, and I'm using my Finesse dye ink pad from Spectrum Noir. Again, this is for alcohol. This is alcohol proof ink, and this is the Noir black that I'm using. And then you just want to line up the pegs and then press down when you're ready and do your stamping. What's nice about this little positioner is you can also pick it up and press. If you have problems with your hands, or you have a difficult time pressing down, just lift up the little positioner and press that in place. Now I'm using the Coral Shades Tri-Blend Spectrum Noir markers, and I'm going to do some simple coloring here. And the Tri-Blend marker has the 3 colors right on the marker, and I've done several videos with these, so you can always go to my blog and check that out. And the medium color is in the middle. The light color is on one end, the medium is in the middle, and then flip the pen around for the darkest shade. And that's going to give you all the highlighting you need here. So I'm just going to blend that out. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, for the back side. And then with the pale pink blend, I'm just going to add a little bit of pink to his little cheeks here. And then with the ice gray shades, I'm going to do the skates. So again, start with your lighter color, add the medium tone, flip that marker around to get that darker color, and then blend it out with your lighter shade. And I'm doing that same process for all of these. Now with the ice blue blend, I'm going to go ahead and just add a little frosty shadow here to my little bears. So I'm just going to add a little bit of that blue just to give a little tiny shadow here. You could use gray here as well. I just thought the blue would make it look a little more like winter weather kind of thing. So I'm just going to blend those out, and I'm using my regular blender pen from Spectrum Noir. So I'm just kind of moving that ink around just a little bit, just to soften it just a little. And I'm adding a little pink to the ears as well. So I did the same thing for the other side of my little bear, and I'm going to go ahead and tape these down with a little bit of purple tape and run these through my Sizzix Sidekick machine. And that'll die cut those out with a little white border all the way around. And then using my white Uniball Signo gel pen, I'm going to add some little white dots to his scarf and a couple little highlights here to the skates. This set, I'm grabbing that little tree again because when I stamp it and glue them back to back, they'll line up exactly. So this is the Sweet Christmas Stamp and Die set. I'm going back to my Spectrum Noir cardstock, and I'm going to go ahead and stamp these. I need 12 of these because we are going to be gluing these again back to back. So the images that I've been looking for here are all images that when you glue them back to back, they're the same. So that's what you want to look for if you're going to do a snow globe, so that the front and the back will match up or line up exactly on your images. So I'm going to again just stamp a whole bunch of these. So I'm just rotating that cardstock, and then I'll move that stamp to do a couple more in the center there. Now I want to use the Alpine Green blend to do my coloring on this one. And this has a really nice shading combination here. So you see you get that pretty green on the light end of the marker. And then you get some nice shading here, kind of that mid green, and then I'm flipping it around for that darker green on the end. And then I'm going back and just blending that out. And we'll be adding a little bit of snow to these later on, so don't be too fussy here. I'm going to color all of these the same way, and then I'm adding a little bit of the tan shades for the trunk of the tree. Once I have those colored in, I'm going to go ahead and again run these through my Sizzix Sidekick machine, just attaching that die with a little bit of purple tape. Now using my snow marker from Marvy Uchida, I'm going to shake this really well. And in order to release the liquid, you just press down a little bit, but I suggest trying that on your scrap paper first because sometimes you get a little bit more than you mean to. And you'll see I did here. You pressed down and it released a little bit more than I wanted to. So kind of play around with that a little bit before you go to your paper. I'm just removing some of that excess with my pick tool there. So once you lay that down, and again, I'm using kind of a patting motion to lay that down onto my tree. And then I'm using my heat tool. And when you heat set this, you want to keep moving your heat gun. You don't want to leave it in one place too long. So just move that around and it's going to puff up. So it's going to create this puffed up snowy effect. It's very three-dimensional and you can see that there. So I did that for all of my little trees. Now you'll see how these will line up back to back perfectly. So just to show you a couple, I'm going to do all of these the same exact way. So we'll have 6 trees when we're all done. I'm using some stem wire. This is just the silver, but you could use green, whatever you have. And I'm just going to cut some little pieces of this, maybe about, I don't know, 1.5 inches long here. And you can adjust these later if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and snip off a couple pieces here. And then I'm going to glue these to the inside. And this is going to be the little stands to place these in our snow globe. So using my Gina K Connect glue, I'm going to go ahead and add glue all to the inside of the tree here, on the back side of the tree. Then I'm going to attach my wire right down the center. And I'll just add a little touch of glue to that wire, just to make sure that it sticks really well here. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue these in place. And again, they are symmetrical, so they're going to line up perfectly. I'm just pressing these together as best I can. And then I'm going to use my reverse tweezers and just kind of clamp that down just to hold that in place for me and letting those dry. So now I'm grabbing the little bear here and I'm going to attach him to my window acetate. I want to make sure that I glue him down really well, so I'm going back to the Gina K Connect glue and I'm bringing him up just a little bit from that frame, maybe about 1/2 inch from the edges of the frame, because this is going to get tucked down into the styrofoam that we're using to hold this in place. So I want to make sure his feet are still showing. So you can play around with that a little bit. Just making sure again I have enough glue here and I'm attaching this. So again, these line up perfectly because it is a front and back stamp. Now I can attach my snowflakes, and again I want to find all the matching ones. So I need one for the front and then the matching one for the back side of the acetate. So no matter which side you look at the snow globe from, it'll be pretty on both sides. So keep that in mind when you're doing your little snow globes. Now I'm using my Silhouette Pick Me Up tool. Just going to place a little dot of glue in the centers and attach all of these. So I'm not going to glue these down completely. I'm just attaching the centers. I'm flipping this over now and finding the coordinating snowflake die, and I'm going to go ahead and add a little dot of glue and line these up perfectly. So again, from both sides, this will look really pretty. And you can see that up close. I decided to add a little sparkle here, and these are the snow crystals, and these are from Buttons Galore and More, and you get all these pretty little embellishments in here. And I'm going to go ahead and take those little clear rhinestone ones, and they're all different sizes. So I'm going to attach those to the centers of each of my snowflakes. So I just want to find some different sizes that will coordinate with my little snowflakes here. And I'm going to go ahead and glue those in the center of each of the snowflakes. And I'll do that on both sides. So again, each side will have the same look. And that adds some nice sparkle. Now these are the styrofoam balls I'm using. This is a 2.5-inch circle ball. And to cut these, I'm using my Tim Holtz 9.5-inch titanium scissors. And you can see at first I cut it in half, and you just press down and cut right through that. You could use an X-Acto knife or whatever you prefer. But I did end up finding that the half size was a little too big, so I cut it a little bit smaller. And then to place a notch in there, I'm just using a gift card or a credit card, and I'm just going to press that down in there just about a 1/2 inch. And that's so that my little circle will sit right inside that styrofoam. So now I'm going to the Let It Shine 6x6-inch Petite paper pack from Lawn Fawn, and I'm going to grab that stripe. And these are 1/2 inch by 6 inches, and I'm going to cut 2 of these. And that will wrap around the bottom of my snow globe and give it kind of a candy cane effect. So I'm using my ATG 700 permanent tape dispenser to apply the tape to the back of these. I just want to make sure that they're attached really well. And I'm just taking a little time to line that up right on the center of this little cap here. And I'm going to do the same thing. And I want to line up the stripes as well. So I'm going to take a second here just to make sure those line up. And then I'm going to bring that around to the back side and just cut away any excess. So next I want to create a little plaque or a little label for the bottom of my snow globe. So we're going to use this set here. And this again is from Lawn Fawn, and it has the coordinating dies. And you have these two choices of Merry Christmas or Ready Set Snow. We're going to grab the Ready Set Snow, and that is the name of the stamp set as well. And we're going to go ahead and grab another piece of that Spectrum Noir paper. I'm taping this onto my little mini precision press here with a little bit of the Tombow permanent adhesive, which we'll easily remove when we're done. So I want to use some archival ink here. And this is from Ranger. This is from Tim Holtz, and this is called Barn Door. So it's this beautiful kind of antique-y red, which is going to go really nicely with what we're doing. So I'm going to stamp this 2 times just to make sure I have a nice dark impression. And again, I'm using all archival safe and permanent inks to do all of my stamping and the coloring as well, because I don't want this to fade over time, because this snow globe will be sitting out probably on a table or in the sunlight. So I want everything to stay nice and sharp for over the years. So I'm going to die cut this out using the coordinating die, and I'm die cutting a couple extra ones as well. And I'm going to go ahead and glue these together because I want to create a nice thick plaque for the front of our snow globe. So I'm just using the Gina K Connect glue, and those will stack up nicely and give me a nice thick embellishment. Now going back to my Let It Shine paper pack, I'm going to use the red with the gold little flecks on it. And I'm using the Lawn Fawn large wreath dies to do my die cutting, and I'm going to grab these 2 pieces to create a bow. So I'm running those through the Sizzix Sidekick machine, and then I'm just going to curl these ends a little bit just to make it easier to create my little bow here. So you just want to put a little glue right in the center there and then pull each of those ends in. And sometimes I like to do them one at a time and just let that dry. So I'm using my reverse tweezers. I'll just clamp that together and let that dry for a second or two. And then I can add a little bit more glue and then bring in that other side. And again, it's easier if you just round these a little bit before you bring them in. And the last thing I have to do is take that little tab and wrap it around to the back. So I'm going to put a little glue on the back there. Just wrap that right around, and again clamp that in place. And then the last thing I have to do is add a little bit of glue to the center of that little bow tie piece there and glue these 2 together, and they line up perfectly. The little notches on that little bow tie piece match up exactly with the bow. And then just clamp that together and let that dry. Now going back to my little frame here, I've got it set in some styrofoam. And I want to attach my trees. So I went ahead and I had placed all of those on those little stems. So they're going to tuck right into the styrofoam here. Now here's where if you find that your little stem is too long, you can just check the bottom and just cut off any excess if you need to. So I'm just going to place 3 on the front side of the snow globe, and again, to make the back side just as pretty, you can put 3 on the back. And again, check the bottom just to make sure that those little stems aren't hanging too far down on the bottom there. So now we've got those in place. Now going back to the snow globe, I'm going to fill mine with the faux snow. And this is just some snow you can get at your craft store. I will list down at the bottom the name of this one. And they come in different sizes of snow as well. These are the smaller ones, but there are some larger sizes, so you could always mix the two together. You could always add a little glitter as well. I chose not to, but that's certainly an option. So now what I want to do is just bend this a little bit so that I can fit it in that opening. So I'm just going to slide it down in there. And then just adjust my snow a little bit just to make sure I have enough. You can always add more here. I'm not attaching the styrofoam to anything. I didn't feel that I needed to. Once you screw that cap on, it's nice and snug in there. And now I can go ahead and attach my little bow and my label. So I've got my label here. I just leaned this on my little precision press just so you could see what I was doing here. So I just have it tipped a little bit so you can see what I'm working on. Now I'm applying the glue to my little label here, and I'm going to attach that. And you just want to hold that for a second or two. And then for the little bow for the top, I'm using my multi-medium matte glue because I am attaching this to plastic and I just want to make sure that it holds really well. So just press that in place and hold that for a second. So now up close you can see my little snow globe. I just love this. And I decided to attach those snowflakes to the acetate just so that even when it's not being shaken, it's still going to look like a snowy day. So I just had such a great time making this. I hope you give it a try because it really is fun. And again, I'll list all of those products below. So if you enjoyed today's video, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to visit me at pinkwhisperdesigns.com. As always, have a great day, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.